Lando Norris fights back to take the Austrian Grand Prix and take the fight to his teammate in the title battle as Verstappen gets torpedoed at turn 3. This is Shifting Happens, episode 22. And joining me, double waved yellow, is Rory. Rory,
hello.
How are you doing?
Good. The Rebel fan is... I did not turn the screen off after 25 seconds of Max Verstappen getting torpedoed by Kimi Antonelli, doing the best Bottas impression. Bottas joins Mercedes, and he taught Joe how to do it in Hungary in 22 or 23, and now he's taught Kimi how to do it, his bowling technique. But no, well, Max got a few extra hour to watch his GT3 team win the Gold Cup at the Spa 24 hours. So he was happy enough that he didn't have to watch the Austrian Grand Prix.
And I have to do one thing here first before we start. I have to. I brought my crying towels for my beloved Toronto Maple Leafs, who lost out again this year. And congratulations to Fly for the repeat of the Florida Panthers. As much as I hate them with every fiber of my being, congratulations, Fly. Another title. And they go for the three-peat next year as they kept the band together in free agency while one of our best players walked to Vegas. So, yeah, bad day for Leafs fans yesterday. We'll see if they can replace him, but I wouldn't bet against the Panthers again. So congrats Fly on another championship. I'm very jealous. Anyways.
So it's being a Maple Leafs fan just basically the equivalent of being a Ferrari fan?
No, because Ferrari has won in my lifetime.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
So like that's not even really comparable. I would say like well, the last time the Leafs won there were only 6 teams, and that was 1967. Okay. So my dad remembers it, but barely.
Okay.
And I have never seen my team get past the 3rd round, and that's basically, if you can get the Leafs past the 3rd or into the 3rd round, they build a statue to you. And I'm not even joking. Like, there are statues in front of the arena of players who've never made it past the 3rd round. So it's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, the Austrian Grand Prix happened.
It sure did.
The thing about these races is, I know we didn't do a canned episode, but I've noticed that these races are very good to watch live, but if you watch it in the replay, it's not really the same. That it depends what you want to get out of the race. Like, if you like the strategy part, if you like to see drivers crash, if you like to see hit each other, if you like to see Max Verstappen get taken out by Mercedes, if you like to see Lando Norris win, it all depends. But no, Austria.
I mean, you can say that, but I missed Monaco live and had to watch that back on replay.
Yes. That was a experience and a half. But we had the Indy 500, so the Indy 500, I say that made up for you, Marshall. I could watch the Indy 500 back. So
yeah, that was much better than the Monaco Grand Prix.
Much better. It wasn't your usual Indy 500 in recent years, but still a very good Indy 500. But
it was.
Yeah, but no, Austria happened. It's usually Austria is a Red Bull dominated track since about 21 to about 23. Red Bull have been very dominant. Max is, I think, the most laps led Austria. He's like one of his most successful tracks of winning. And then the McLarens turn up, and Lando Norris slaps himself on pole for 5 tenths ahead of the field, which is. Now there's a caveat of Gasly, of course, spinning on his lap, causing a yellow flag, which stopped Verstappen and Piastri from second lap. But it just showed the McLarens were just out of another league this weekend, and at least the McLaren drivers are fighting in the championship, and we have Verstappen. I feel like for Verstappen, it's going to be like his 2020 season. It was like the Mercs. The 2 Mercs were like way down the field, and Max is just going to scrape a few wins, and he'll just finish 3rd in the season. He might even not finish third this season. How it's going, how close, how Russell and Leclerc are catching him in third place.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's checked out a little bit on the title front. Like whenever he's asked about it, he's like, just stop talking about it. Just sad to see, but at the same time, I mean, we're only on race 11 or 12 now, I guess. Yeah. And it's like kind of discouraging to see that fight is over. But I mean, it's not the first time that we've had one team better than the rest. And it's the first time we've had a customer team that's dominating. So you can't really, like, if you're going to take, and this is one thing. It's like, I watch these races quite regularly, just knowing like, okay, McLaren's a class of the field. They're probably going to win, but we'll see what happens and whatever. I did that for 8 years for Mercedes. Like I did that for 3 years for Red Bull. So at least it's a different color car. But that gets boring after a while. I do think though that like this was the first time that we saw Lando had the margin on his teammate for practice, qualifying, and the race. Like that he was better than Oscar on the whole weekend. And Oscar has very good racecraft, so he was much closer in the race than he was. Like it's always this fun thing this year where it's like Lando looks great in practice, Bottle's qualifying a little bit, and then they both have pretty good race pace, but because of Oscar's track position, he ends up ahead, right? Like that's kind of been the pattern.
It's the McLaren strategy. The lead driver gets decision on track. It's never going to be the second driver is never going to get first preference. That maybe last year McLaren in a sense. Like I don't think McLaren have still changed philosophy, but they're still going to pick the first car. The lead car is going to get preference.
And can we say like never use papaya rules ever again? Can we retire that?
The thing is, what I think Julian Palmer said in the commentary, it was on F1 TV, said the thing with papaya rules is if you say orange rules, it doesn't really ring a bell. It's like papaya rules, it has that ring to it, but it's also very cringe.
So they like if you look at the color on our screen right now, that is papaya. Like our name plates are in papaya. If you look at the McLaren colors that have changed several times to a darker shade, they are traffic cone. They are like the VLC logo. They are as orange can possibly be. It's like, can we call them traffic cone rules or something? I don't know, but
they're chrome this weekend. Well, chrome is stretching.
Yes. But no, I think that we have to give props to Lando for finally kind of putting qualifying together. And like, even if like, I think Oscar was pretty, like, he was not as angry as somebody who thought they had pole in hand having his lap deleted would have been. Same with Max. Like, I don't think anyone was touching that lap.
No.
That was just a supreme, like, half a second better than his first run. Like,
maybe
it wasn't going to happen.
Maybe 2/10 they could have gone, but I think it would still be in a margin of 3/10 maybe. Like, I don't think it was going to be close. Like, I think Lando just had that extra pace on one lap this weekend.
I think there was a chance that Piastri could have got on the front row. But you know, he made short work of the Ferrari anyway. So it's like, you know, what's the difference? It was a good move, yeah. But I think we have to give credit to Lando for finally putting it together. And I'm just looking at the standings here right now, and you know, it is incredibly close. Like, you've got what is it here? Just flipping things. So 216 to 201. Like, that's 15 points is nothing, especially now that we don't have the fastest lap point anymore. You're looking at, and they're actually even on podiums now. They're 9-9, and Piastri has 5 wins to Lando's 3, but they're actually only 15 points apart. So one bad race and it's flipped on its head. And I just think based on current form, I'm still not backing down on my prediction that Lando's gonna take it by the end of the year. I'm not backing down on that prediction.
I think with the Lando is, I think like we had discussions on here. Was Lando out of the race? I definitely say we never really took Lando out of the conversation, but like the general like media consensus was there wasn't an exaggeration of Lando being out of it. But when you look at this, like the consistency of Lando, like before Canada, he hadn't finished out of the top 4 in any race, and Oscar only managed to get gain 12 points on Lando in the Canada, like so like.
And if Canada hadn't happened, they'd be like a 3-point gap right now.
Yeah.
Like if Lando hadn't had temporary brain lapse, like we'd basically be tied. Like it's crazy how little like the margins in this championship are. That when you have a situation, it's kind of like the Hamilton Rosberg thing. Like if you go back to 2016 and you look at the start of the season and you look at how Rosberg started that season, you're like, how on earth was it close? Because Rosberg just rattled off like I think 7 wins out of the first 9 or 10 races.
Yeah.
But Hamilton was always second. Like it was just he wasn't able to get away. And because there's two cars at the front every single weekend, and the swings are so minor and just go back and forth that you're never gonna see a big swing on any given weekend. And if you do, then it'll just be the next time that something happens. Like Oscar had his Australia, Lando had his Canada, and we're back to the close race that we were expecting. So
and you think about 2016, like Lewis had that failure in Malaysia, that kind of it helped Rosberg in a sense, but like this could happen in this year, that it could be close, like few points in margin wise, and then McLaren, one of the drivers, McLaren, has an engine failure. That's how that might swing. Like its reliability could come into it. Like McLaren's look like they have solid reliability at the moment, but like anything could happen. Like it's Silverstone. Like we don't know what's going to happen Silverstone this weekend. Spa the next. It's going to be down to who do McLaren want who wants to win the championship. Lando is their golden academy prospect. Oscar, he's one of the next generation's machines, like a Verstappen kind of esque. But it's who does the McLaren strategy team want to win, basically.
I mean, I don't think it'll come to that. I think they'll figure it out amongst themselves, just on pure pace. And McLaren, like I think we do need to talk about Oscar's move, like his flat spot on his attempt. Like that was the first time all year that we've seen a little bit of desperation from Oscar. I don't think that move was even close. And he had that opportunity, and Lando actually played it perfectly, but they were very, very, very careful not to tangle this time. Like you could tell that they were on their best behavior and keeping it as close as they could. But the ultimate mistake that cost Piastri any chance of the win was just him flat spotting the tire on a move that just was not even close to coming off. Like he
had to go 4 laps. He'd extend 4 laps on Lando's pit stop, and like it also showed that with a flat spot tire, that McLaren tire wear is like the Red Bull of the early regulations, like. But still, like, and you could see on the radio when Tom Staller came on, like he had asked Piastri, do you want the delta gap or do you want track position, in a sense? And Oscar wanted that delta gap, but McLaren, they thought it would be a bit closer, and then it turned out he was much more of a gap behind. But, it was
Lando had the pace in hand when he needed it too. I think Lando knew he had the better strategy, being the lead McLaren. So he knew that he had that, like, there's almost an incentive under the current rules to not get ahead too far, because you give away the options. Like, you give away the game. If you keep the guy right behind you, he can't afford to undercut you. And especially when it's your teammate, when you know that your team is going to give you the preferential strategy. It's just, it's interesting, because we've seen it in the past. Like, if that had been Max there, you're holding Max up so that he can't undercut you, because then he'll go into traffic. So you're incentivized to actually, like, hold position almost and just, like, run the stint to not the optimal speed. And we could see that later on when they were freed up, how much quicker they were going, and how much further they got. Like, they lapped up to, like, what was it?
They lapped up to Bortoleto on the last lap. I think.
Like,
There's
they lapped up
the funny quote after the race that Don Tweedy, the Sauber team principal, sent a message to Zach Brown saying, "You not lap us because we need to get that extra lap against Gasly or something." And they, of course, got lapped. But they lapped high up the field.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were freed on pace, which is part of what we saw in 2016, is like when the Mercedes were forced to show their hand, they just had so much more. Where, like, you know, maybe in 2023, Max didn't have to show everything that he had, right?
Like we only saw Max show his pace like maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like it was like when Max showed his pace when he personally wanted to, like, do, like, just to
the fastest lap, just to get the just to actually show, like, this is what I could be doing.
Or it was like every time Max turned up to Belgium in qualifying, it was just like he would put like 8 tenths on the field in Q3. It was just like
just madness. For fun. Which actually gives us a nice segue to our next topic, which is Max Verstappen, and he had the shortest race of the season for anyone, really. He made it.
Maybe the car Sainz beats him to that, I think.
Oh yeah, well, Sainz is a DNS. He doesn't even count.
That's fair.
But his race was over in a couple of corners, and he was fairly magnanimous with Antonelli. He didn't seem too aggrieved. I did love his quote about when they asked him what he thought of Ferrari's pace in the race and where he might have been in the mix. He was like, "Oh, I don't know. I was watching the spot 24 hours."
I thought back for that. Like, he's just like, I'm out of the race. It doesn't affect me. I don't have to go to an engine. I don't have to go to an engineer's meeting. I'm fine. Like, it's
And it's kind of like if you recall, like, well, you wouldn't, because you're like, you would have been like negative 12. But
are you talking Kimi?
Nigel?
Oh, Nigel.
Like, if Nigel went out of the race, he would instantly be in street clothes off to the airport. And like, he would be in England by the time the race was over. You know, like, before the race was even over, he would be home, like, just gone.
The only thing I remember is when in 2020, when was the Austrian or the Styrian Grand Prix, but when when the two Ferraris played, Vettel and Leclerc, when they mounted each other, it was like Vettel just like he got back to the paddock, he got changed, and he just left. He said, "I'm not dealing with Ferrari's incompetence and Leclerc. I'm not doing a press conference." There was supposed to be like some like emergency press conference with Binotto, and Binotto, they had to cancel because Vettel had just got on a car, or just got in a car or a helicopter and went to the airport and left by the time the race was over. It was Max.
And by that time, he knew he was gone. So why was
he was already gone. Like, he knew like about 3 months before that he was gone. So
why am I going to stick around in this?
But no, Max. That incident, you could say it's racing some, but I also think the 3-place grid penalty is a fair. Like, it kind of just doesn't get
that. That was a Leroy Jenkins. That was he just went into that corner way too fast and just like speared through like 3 rows on the grid and like nailed Max. It was I haven't seen any like something that bad since probably like, was it Pedro Diniz in Montreal one year, where he just like kamikaze through half the field and wiped out like 3 cars, like bumper car style, or maybe Valtteri in the aforementioned Valtteri in Hungary. But
yeah, the boss us as a reserve driver for Mercedes. He gave some tips to Antonelli, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of those incidents where, like, you look at it and when you look it back, you think, how did more cars not get involved in that incident? Like, it was
amazing.
Like,
I mean, Hamilton was right there. Like, there were so many cars that he could have hit that he avoided, and then just like, it was like there was a magnet on the back of Max's car, and it was just like,
it's like Max, like he went like, when you look at it like his onboard, you think, why did he just went up the inside? But he went to the outside where you think like it'd be safe on the outside. And it just
and it just got torpedoed. You ever see the Takuma Sato crash at that corner?
Oh yeah.
In when was it? 2002, where Heidfeld just completely missed his, like, just lost his mind and locked up his brakes going into the corner and just went in full speed ahead, like plowed into Sato. Like, that corner lends itself to that. There was if you notice, there's a motorbike chicane there now.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years ago they had like a complete just bowling pin crash where the bike, I think it was Zarco, just came in straight ahead and just took like 6 bikes out, and a bunch of people got hurt, and there's flames and fire and just chaos.
If I watched the F2 race, we had a flying Red Bull because of the sausage curb. We had 2 Red Bulls hit each other, and one of the it was Oliver Gote. He hit the sausage curb and took off and gave the meaning to the Rebel gives you wings. Literally.
Oh, the upside down.
Oh, that was Mega Tuna. That was the Trident. That was the feature. That was the sprint race, and then the feature race we had. It's the same race. Sorry, and that happened at the start, and that happened at the end.
F2 always keeps us interested, but I will say that working the Canadian Grand Prix was way more interesting when the F1 Academy were out there than when F1 was out there. It was like constant chaos and action. It's just so much better, from a marshal's perspective, because we were always busy.
You're always on track.
We're always like, we're always calling something in, or we're always, watching something, because they were very exciting. Like, we don't get the F2 or F3 in Montreal ever. So it was nice to have. It was nice to have the F1 Academy, because normally we don't have. Do you have
the Super Cups, the Porsche Super Cups?
Yeah, we have it's the IMSA one.
Oh, the IMSA one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Carrera Cup. IMSA Carrera Cup, yeah. They were at Watkins Glen last weekend. But they always are a good time. There's a pile of them. Actually, those races are all on YouTube too. So
I love watching them.
They're a good time.
30 Porsches just going around.
Yeah, but we used to have Ferrari Challenge, and that was even more chaotic. Ferrari Challenge was just a mess.
Dude, Ferrari GTs are just chaos. They just don't. They're like they just see magnets, and it
was funny last year. Like we were at corner 5 for the Saturday, and that's like the one, like, just the kink before the second chicane. That's all lined in safer barrier.
Yeah.
And they would all hit the outside. Or the inside, coming out of 4 with their, like, when they're defending. Yeah. And we had, like, all in the same spot, just lined up, like, up against the edge of the track, like 3 Ferrari mirrors. Just sitting there. Just lined up. And we go pick them up, and they're all smashed, or some of them were actually in pretty good shape. You could, go to the Ferrari dealer, say, what can I get for this?
Get trading. Just like, can I have a Ferrari for this mirror?
But yeah, they don't tend to use their mirrors anyway. So what do they need them for?
Do do we side with to Ferrari, or do we talk about the white smoke of Verstappen to Mercedes?
Oh, well, I was gonna say, where do we think, like, do we think that he's gonna be in that seat next year? But I mean, we can talk about Ferrari quickly.
Yeah.
I think they had a pretty decent race, but what do we think of their decision to box Lewis when he wanted to stay out? Is this just more Ricky-isms, or is this like, is there anything there?
To be honest, I paid little attention to Ferrari in that race. I was like, there wasn't much going on. I saw them pace, and like Lewis was closer. Like, he had a better weekend this weekend, but he still got dominated by Charles Leclerc. Like,
but you saw the radio message when he was about to pit, right?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
like when he's going, no, my tires are fine, and they're like, box, and he goes, no, how many laps left? And they say 20 laps or whatever. He's like, well, my tires feel good. Do we have to box? Box. Like, it was just like a repeat.
It's like the equivalent to like, my tires are dead, Bono, but my tires are fine, so let's box anyway.
Yeah. And you just wonder, like, I don't think it would have made any difference, but if there had been a safety car, he would have been in better shape if he had stayed out. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where I had predicted that when Lewis went over to Ferrari, that they would listen to him and like make some operational changes around how he's used to things working at Mercedes. And they really haven't done it at all.
No.
And it's a little bit shocking when you consider like how, and I know our good friend AJ is going to be so mad at this, but like, wasn't this supposed to be a new era of Ferrari under Fred? Like, they were supposed to be
team principal,
right? Weren't they supposed to be like taking steps to change their identity and like be smarter about strategy and but it looks like they're just the same old Ferrari, and it's disappointing because I was hoping that like I thought that Lewis would be the best thing for Charles. Like, I really thought that Lewis coming over there would give Charles somebody with sort of more of an outside perspective that's not like I think Charles is too enamored by Ferrari sometimes, and he's too embedded in the Ferrari way, and he doesn't always advocate for himself and in the way that, Carlos did and in certain circumstances. And I thought that, Lewis coming in might give the team sort of the impetus to change the way that they develop, the way that they run their race strategy, the way they run their race team. But early returns, and I mean, I know they've got the car kind of wrong, but early returns just in how they're running their races seems like they haven't really been taking advantage of this guy that they've paid so much money to, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like, I think for me, it's like 2026 is like my final straw with Ferrari. It's like if you get this engine reg wrong again, like the 2014 regs, then I am like, yeah, it's like you might as well just burn down Maranello, like not actually like burn down Maranello, but just go in there and build it from the top. And it's also like Fred Vasseur made the comments in the Canada, like he needs, like, do we need to change the top of Ferrari, like the top leadership in Ferrari, because you changed the drivers, you've fired so many people, you've had like 5 team principals in the last few years, like him, Binotto, what's his name? Arriva Bene, was it?
What, before
Binotto?
Yeah, it was Arriva Bene. And then it was Stefano.
But then there was that guy for like in 2014 who was there for like 6 months. And then
Mariachi or something.
Yeah. But I also want to send our best condolences to Fred Vasseurs family as well, after the passing of his mother as well. So just send the condolences there. But it's it's Ferrari. It's like that meme of Ferrari just like and Lewis in charge. All the aura photos you can take, but there is literally no pace to show. Like it's.
Well, I just think if you're paying Lewis what they're paying him, that should come with a Schumacher-esque blank check where like, you know, when Michael went in there, whatever Michael said was now the law.
Yeah.
Like what you know, whatever he needed, he got. Whoever he wanted, whatever, like, you know, with the exception of the fact that, you know, he can't have a doormat as a teammate like Schumacher always wanted. You know, in terms of what he wants from the team, like from Ricky or from Fred, like he should just be able to walk in and say, like, make this happen. And they should just like make whatever he needs the case. Like I'm listening to all this stuff about like when they talk about how the car is like not suiting his style and whatever. And it's like, how do you hire Lewis Hamilton but not have a car that suits his style? Like what are you doing here? Like you're paying him $500 million to drive for your team, and you're compromising him by giving him equipment that, you know, doesn't suit his style. So why did you go out and get him? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Ferrari? Like, I understand fully why Lewis did it. Like, everybody wants to end their career at Ferrari. Everybody wants the opportunity to drive the red car. Like, it's got the mystique about it. And I'm sure that he would have regretted ending his career without driving for Ferrari. But
even like we saw Vettel go on Ferrari, like trying to win that elusive championship with Ferrari, like you would be treated as a hero.
Yeah, you would be. Yeah, I mean, and I don't even think that, you know, Lewis is doing it necessarily with the aim of winning the championship. I just think that, you know, he would have gone in there eyes wide open. It's Ferrari. He's not a stupid man, you know. He knows.
He raced against his team for about 10 years in the Mercedes. He knew
he knew what he's getting into, but it just, you know, he was probably looking at it and saying, do I think Mercedes will win a championship in the next 4 years or 3 years? And he said, probably not. Well, if they're not, I want to finish my career at Ferrari. And hey, I can make boatloads of money doing it. And don't pretend, like all the Lewis Hamilton fans that get all up in my business when I say that, like, part of his move to Ferrari is about the money. Of course it's about the money. Like, he wouldn't have asked for the money and he wouldn't have taken the money if he would do it for free, or he'd do it for like whatever Charles is making. Like, they made him an offer he literally could not refuse. Like, just an insane offer that he would have been crazy not to take. And Mercedes would have been crazy to give him, frankly. Like, it just insane amounts of money. And, you know, of course he's going to take that. Like, you can't separate the decision from the money and just say, oh, it's not about the money. The money is pretty good. Like, we're all human. You know, you want to take, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars to drive the car that you dreamed of driving since you were a kid? Sure, I'll do that. Why not? Well, you might not win, but, you know, that's what the paycheck is for, man. Like, that's the reality of business. I think that a lot of times we get a little too romantic about this stuff and think like, oh, he's going to Maranello to win his 8th championship. And not to say that he's not trying to win his 8th championship or that he doesn't want to win his 8th championship. But I'm sure that if he doesn't get it, he will be at peace with his decision either way. On top of many stacks of money.
It's not our feelings that it's up to the Lewis or any driver to be happy what they've accomplished in like an athlete. Like, it's up to them to feel like, have they accomplished anything? Like, it's not for us to tell them that you should be happy for this or you should be disappointed for this for not reaching it. It's up to
exactly. It's like you can see that in sort of Max's demeanor too. Like, he's not particularly troubled when he doesn't win the championship. Like, he likes to win and he expects to win, but he knows when he loses, it's Formula One. And I think nobody knows that more than Lewis, that like, if you don't what did I say? If you're bringing a Wiener Schnitzel to a gunfight like Red Bull did in Austria, like you're not expecting much, right? Like no amount of driving talent is going to overcome the deficit of your car. So, you have to be able to be at peace with that. And there's enough history and accomplishment in Lewis's career that if you think his stint at Ferrari is going to define him, well, that's on you. That's not reflective of who he is as a driver or who he, or his legacy or anything. It's not relevant. And, it's only he can decide what his goals and ambitions are. Like, we are not there to tell him what he should or shouldn't have done. Yeah. So I get tired of that narrative and like all this stuff about should he have stayed at Mercedes. I think that we don't know what 2026 brings. I think hindsight is an easy thing to say, but do you think that, and this is a nice segue into our next little topic here, if you're Lewis Hamilton and you know where Red Bull is headed, Adrian Newey is probably leaving, and none of this happens in a vacuum. I know it was the year before, but that, Red Bull's not going to a new engine partner and Mercedes is going to be building a new engine, and that they're going to be looking for the future. Like, even if Lewis was still there, you don't think that they wouldn't be making overtures to Max Verstappen anyway?
You saw it this weekend, and you saw it last weekend in Austria. Russell, who said he didn't have a contract, is saying that they're still Tobo's probably talking to Max. Like if any team on the grid should be looking to sign Max Verstappen, because of Max Verstappen's consistency, what he can do in a car, we see with the Red Bull. Like, Max is the only driver who can drive that Red Bull. Is it because the car's designed, or he's just able to find the absolute maximum out of a car? You see when he gets into a GT car, he's on the pace immediately. Like he's
an alien,
he's a freak. Like he's a phenomenal. Like he's like built to be like a machine, a racing machine. So it's anyone's going to talk to Max now. I personally think Max will stay. I think he stays at Red Bull for 26. I think he will give Red Bull a year and see what they're like in 26, how the engine is. Like, the engine probably isn't going to be up to scratch. We'll have to see in preseason testing the first few races, but I think Max will give Red Bull the benefit of the doubt and say, like, I'm going to trust you guys for a year. Do what it could happen what Vettel did in 2014. Saw what Red Bull was doing, he could make his mind up, see our Red Bull progressing in the way he wants it. And then Max, he has a contract to 2028, but he can always, there is performance.
There's always a way out. If somebody doesn't want to be there, or if they don't want you there, you can have a contract and it can be torn up.
MotoGP at the moment.
but I don't think like if I'm Lewis, I know the writing's on the wall there. I know that they're looking to the future, and I know that that's why they're offering him a 1+1. And he's like, well, what happens on the +1 if in 2026 Max Verstappen is my teammate? Do I really want my last year at Mercedes to be against Max Verstappen?
Yeah.
And then if they are offering him a multi-year deal, then that doesn't solve that issue. He doesn't get to control what they do with the second seat, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that he was eyes wide open in the move to Ferrari, and we'll see what it does for him in 2026. But anyway, Max. Is he going silver, or you don't think so? You think not until 27?
At 27, it depends. No, it all depends what Mercedes do. How long, if they give Russell a contract, how long do they give it to him? Because I don't see Russell and Max. If Max goes to Mercedes, I don't think Russell and Max will be teammates. I think it'd be too fiery. I don't think Toto wants to have that Lewis Rosberg situation again. But also it's a lose-lose for Mercedes, because I think Russell's been one of the better drivers this year, up there with the two McLaren drivers, Max and Leclerc. And it's like, and then you lose Kimi Antonelli. Like, Kimi, yes, he's a raw talent, but like if Kimi has shown he has the talent in his junior categories, he skipped F3. He was in not a great frame setup, but he showed amazing pace and amazing like performances. But if you get rid of Kimi, like, you could have had Kimi's like what, 18 now. You could have him in your team for the next 10 years if you wanted to. Like, but I think this Max talk is just a total want. He missed out on Max back in 2015, 2016 because he couldn't afford a seat at the time.
I think it's not coming from Mercedes as much as it's coming from Verstappen's camp.
Oh no, I think it's just Verstappen and his management.
I think that they're not happy with the current state at Red Bull. They're not entirely sure how the new regulations are going to go, and the brain trust isn't there anymore. Like, they've lost a lot of their best people. So if you're looking, like, you're going to look elsewhere for opportunities, but you're also going to create leverage against your current employer that you don't feel is meeting their obligations, right? So to me, it sounds like Max's team anyway, exploring their options more than, but Toto is just like, how long did he leave his options open last time? Like, before he confirmed Antonelli, like, that was always his plan A, but they didn't confirm it because there was always the potential that something else could come up.
And Toto didn't deny last year he was talking to Verstappen as well.
Exactly. So with George, like, on the way out, I see this as a very, like, if Max falls on your lap, fine, you let George go. But if and this is something that I posted in our chat earlier, but I made the blob crew very annoyed with me. But like, if you're McLaren and Lando doesn't win the championship this year and George Russell is available, that's slam dunk. You do that 10 times out of 10. And I know that, Lando's got a contract or whatever, but Max leaving Red Bull while under contract and then George being available could just create, like, I mean, obviously the obvious one is that Alonso's out or Stroll or both, and Russell lands at Aston Martin, but I don't think they're going to be competitive out of the box next year. And that would be a very B move for a guy of Russell's capabilities. And if I'm looking at the top of the grid, if I'm McLaren, I'm eyeing Russell's being available as something that I would try and make happen if I could. I understand that, like, Lando's basically born and raised by Zach Brown, so and that's going to be a hard thing for them to do. But if they're just looking at it with the same rational cynicism as a guy like Toto Wolff, who probably loves George Russell and wants him to be in the team, but if you've got Max wanting to drive for you, well, these things happen. You've got to do what you got to do. It's the Piranha Club, and they don't call it the silly season because it's reasonable.
Yeah, it's like the most recent. I know we had Piastri situation with Alpine, and then you also had when Ricciardo left Red Bull. Like, it was like that season was just going very boring, and then Ricciardo just leaves Red Bull, and it's like, okay, we have a situation here.
Yeah,
but no, it's with Max. I agree. It's probably the entourage behind. Like, it's like they think, like, we had those years of those rebuilding years of from 2016 to 2021. Do we want to go through that again? And when you've lost all these key personnel, yes, the cost cap's going to do that, but poaching will happen. But you lose Newey, you lose Wheatley. I think he's one of the most important assets. Also with Rob Marshall, who just left, who is at McLaren now. Red Bull's in a rebuilding phase, and I don't know if the Verstappen camp want to go through that again, especially when they know Max is at his peak of his powers of a driver. and Max is always, and it doesn't help that Max, with the increasing calendar and travel load of this F1, like Max has been denied. He wants to go racing sports cars, like.
You know what I love, Rory, is when new fans to the sport that have come in like in the past few years realize how ruthless it is for the first time.
Yeah.
It's almost adorable. But like, if you were a Nigel Mansell fan in 1992,
get sacked by Ferrari.
No, getting sacked by Williams when he won the championship.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He won the championship. Here he is. He's won like a record number of races. And Alain Prost says to Frank Williams one day, well, actually, no, he says to Renault one day, who powers the Williams, and Renault says to Frank Williams, Alain Prost wants to come back. And he says, well, Mansell and Prost in the same team isn't going to work. No, it's not. Prost wants to be in the team, but be the number one. And they're okay.
Do you want? And then Renault say, "Do you want engines, Frank, for next year?"
Yeah. Do you want engines, Frank? Do you want engines? And Frank has to turn around, and like he was the one that brought Mansell, because if you remember in 1990, Mansell had a snit fit and threw his gloves into the crowd and said, "I quit." Yeah. And Frank Williams was the one that pulled him out of retirement and brought him back into the fold for 91. They had some reliability issues to start the year, but that car was a rocket and would have won the championship if the season had been as long as the current season, because Senna won the first 4 races and that kind of sealed the deficit. But the Williams was the better car over the balance of the season by a lot, and Mansell would have won that championship, if the season had been more than 16 races. But then he goes to 92 with the active suspension car, and he absolutely wipes the floor with everyone. And like when we say lap the field, we're not exaggerating. Like he literally lapped the field in that active ride.
It's not like when we say when lap the field, it's up to P5 in the Grand Prix. It's like you actually lap the field.
Yeah. Like Mansell and in that Williams was just dominating, and Senna was of course shut out from moving to Williams because of Mansell, and Mansell was thinking he had the negotiation, in hand, and everybody was like assuming that he would be back. And then we find out like, a third of the way into the year that Prost is coming back and he's having negotiations with Williams, and everybody's like, where does that leave Mansell? And of course he throws his toys out of the crib and goes to IndyCar. And like all this stuff, if it had happened now, people would just be losing their minds. So it's like, yes, people were saying to me like, well, Russell can't be that good if Toto wants to get rid of him for Max. It's like, well, no, you fire anyone for Max. Like if you can get Max, you fire anyone. That's just a no-brainer. But also, like, if you don't have someone of Russell's caliber, you don't get sentimental about it. You just go out and get that guy. Like people don't realize just how ruthless this sport is and has been. And, people get attached to the drivers and whatnot, but it's not a sentimental thing. Like, and I kind of wonder if the era of social media had existed in Mansell's time, how vitriolic like Twitter would have been at Frank Williams, and if like people would have showed up at the first race of the year, Mansell fans, and like had the type of reaction that certain fans did to Mercedes when Lewis left and stuff. It's funny, but at the same time, it's like, welcome to the, they didn't call it the Piranha Club because everybody was nice to each other. And it's just funny to see it, because like, I don't aspire to the moral code of the Formula One paddock, but at the same time, I acknowledge that it's just the absolute most ruthless pen of like, rational sort of self-interest. That's all it is. It's just the extreme environment, and that extends to being loyal to the guy that you brought in from day one. And Russell, if you have to get rid of him to get Max, you're going to do it. And I think McLaren would be wise to do the same thing. If they can get Russell, they do it. And it domino. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, just one quick thing. Do we think that Colapinto is going to last the year?
Well, let's just say Alpine are not going great at the moment. But don't worry, Argentinian oil money will save them.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
No. There's the reports in the media that we've seen that Mercedes, Flavio Briatore has apparently gone to Mercedes and only initiated talk and said, "Can we have Bottas for the rest of the season?" And it just shows you how that team is being run at the moment. It just like their CEO is also going. What's his name?
Demio.
He's gone. Well, he's leaving. Alpine did still have score points this year, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
But they're last in the championship.
They're last in the championship. I think they had 11 points in 11 races.
Yeah. So the team's not going well. A double podium in Brazil is going to save them, like last year.
Oh yes, in the pouring rain.
But no, as BaxtyB, one of our esteemed co-hosts in the chat, says, Colapinto won't last a year. It's no coincidence that Aaron is driving for Sauber next month. Now, my thing with Aaron is that I think the only reason he is in a Sauber is because Oliver Oakes signed Aaron, and Oliver Oakes is no longer there, and Alpine have nothing other. They don't want to put him in their own car, so they're going to just go loan him out to other teams. And it's also that Aaron's older brother, is a development, runs, I think it's a simulator, or he does like driver development for Sauber. So that's why. But I don't think he's going to be in the car. I think if it is, it's more we could see Bottas in the car.
I still think it's an outside shot, and whatever happened to Doohan? Is he just on an island somewhere? Is he just
we've only seen him once, have we? Like he turned up at the Spanish Grand Prix and he hasn't been anywhere else.
Get sent out into the ocean, like find your way back to Australia, kid.
Yeah, he's like, he's still at like Barcelona airport, just trying to find his economy tickets.
Guys.
You know the movie of the person who lived in the airport was it 10 years or something? It's just him doing just there. But no, it's Silver. Do you want to go down to Silverstone predictions?
Yep, we can roll. So I was looking at the forecast, and some chance of rain, though it keeps changing. So you can never be too sure of the forecast on a Wednesday. But
Silverstone is a former airbase, so it's a bit of a it's saying rain, isn't it? Or it's supposed to be wet at least.
So they're saying that there's a 25% chance on Saturday, and a chance of actually it's saying now 25 on Sunday as well. So that's not very high. Yeah. It was saying close to 50 on Sunday, but it depends on which site you look at. But I took Lewis Hamilton as a sentimental pick because it's Silverstone. If there's any weather in the air, he will just tell Ricky what to do, and he will come out ahead on just knowing what tire to be on at the right time. I think Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis's first Grand Prix, not a sprint win, but a Grand Prix win being at Silverstone would be it would continue his podium streak at Silverstone as well.
It's a sentimental pick for sure.
Yeah. BaxtyB in our chat says Norris, good shout. McLaren could be strong this weekend again in their not so chrome livery. And myself, what did I go? I think I went with Verstappen for predictions. I'm going for Verstappen because I saw the weather and said, even though that car is probably going to be nowhere off the pace, but when that's in the rain, that car Max could pull a masterpiece. So I think that's it, Marshall, is it?
Yeah, I think we'll see what happens at Silverstone. we can talk about our predictions, but we know it'll probably be an orange battle at the front, but we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe Baxty's going
we can hope.
Baxty might get a prediction right this time if he goes with
Yeah,
Norris.
yeah. He went for Norris, so we'll say, what are we at now? Who's winning? Are you winning?
I might be winning. Shez might be winning. I don't know.
We gotta do the tally. We gotta figure it out. We'll have an update on the page saying who's ahead, because we're all competing for the prestigious prize of absolutely nothing.
Actually, Baxty has corrected me and said he's on a 2-race win streak. So he actually has. I'm spouting misinformation.
All right. Well, there we go. Let's see if he makes it 3 in a row. But with that's it for this one. Thanks everybody for watching, for listening. I'm Double Waved Yellow. You can find me at DBL Waved Yellow on Threads and Instagram. Rory, you can find him at Rory Talks Motorsport on Instagram. And what's your Twitter handle again?
Rory Talks F1. I barely use it, but you can find me on the Random WEC Memes Twitter page where I post WEC memes.
Great WEC memes, I might add. And thank you to our intrepid producer, the one and only Fly, and his little guy that was joining us before we went on air, who's awesome. So thanks, Fly, for all you do, and hopefully BaxtyB, Shez, Coconut, everybody will be back after Silverstone for a update on what will be a thrilling British Grand Prix. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.